Desidero ringraziare.
Thank you very much, Clara, for inviting me here. I did not know Clara before, but I've received her invitation letter and then I've read a lot about her on the web, and I really appreciate all what you do. Well, I believe that it is very important to talk about ethics and food. In this precise moment, in such an important city as Milan, with Expo going on, an event that has been totally dedicated to food. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about our project. As Dr. Carfagna told you, I am an endocrinologist. Who is an endocrinologist? Well, maybe this is the only internal medicine physician. Endocrinologists focus on the patient 360 degrees. The hormones affecting all the systems oblige us to see the patient as a person, not as an organ or as a disease. Endocrinologists focus on metabolism, so we tend to think about thyroid, weight increase, weight loss. Actually, endocrinologists also take care of the weight of their patients and therefore of their nourishment. Talking about food, even if we're not nutritionists by training, is nevertheless something necessary. We have to give advice and recommendations. This is why, a couple of years ago, we decided to launch a project about food for the European community. A project that, however, is different from usual. From the following explanations, you will understand that we have merged many different competencies. It is a very ambitious project called Credits for Health, a project that aims at teaching a good lifestyle. You hear about lifestyle everywhere. You switch on the TV and the nutritionist recommends this and that. You must do physical activity. But in reality, people don't do that. So we need to change something in our communication to be able to get to people in a more participatory way. Credits for Health is a project that aims at conjugating recommendations about lifestyles, taking into due consideration the patient's profile, and in general the individual profile, exploiting technology with the development of a technological platform. There is a lot of talk about ICT platforms. And this is exactly what we want to do. We want to make use of a new platform to communicate what is already communicated today, but sometimes with a certain degree of approximation in a naive way, trying to do this with experience and with the competence of physicians, of doctors, and competencies coming out of trials, of studies that have been designed in the most appropriate way to find answers rather than just going on talking about phenomena and trends, which is what we generally tend to hear from the media. Our project has been presented and has been successful. We received the authorization to proceed, and Italy is the country coordinating the project. We do this through the University of Florence and with the involvement of other European countries. Not only Mediterranean countries such as Spain and Greece, but also Germany and the UK. We have 15 participating groups carrying out completely different activities. For instance, we have the clinical groups in Girona, in Spain, in Florence, and in the Apulia region of Italy, and in Pilos Nestorace in Greece. But then we have the technological groups that will develop the platform I'm going to describe to you presently. And then we have groups that focus on ethics. These are located in the UK and in Munich and Berlin. And then we have institutions. For instance, in Italy, the region of Apulia, and specifically the bodies focusing on communication with the citizens, as well as our health care ministry that has played a fundamental role in the designing phase of the study. So Credits for Health is a project that conjugates many different competencies. And this is ambitious because, physicians think in a given way, technologists only see technology, ethicists warn you about so many issues. Then we have institutional bodies that also have a say. So the first 1.5 years, this is a 3-year project in total, has been particularly complicated because this was something totally different from what we were used to. I have been carrying out controlled clinical trials for more than 30 years. I know what they are, but developing this kind of controlled clinical trial was particularly complex. Why is that? Well, because we had to design 3 studies, 2 pilot ones and a final one. In the first pilot study, we have included 450 participants, individuals who had to experiment with the platform that had been developed to analyze the phenotype of the participants. So the people connecting on the platform had to be qualified based on their phenotype. Then we also wanted to analyze the psychotype because people connecting on the platform are different individuals. Everyone is different and we want to help them, support them, knowing that there are many different psychotypes. The platform also contains 21 indicators for nutrition, parameters that should help us understand which is the best food for that given person, as well as indicators regarding physical activity. In the first pilot study, we recruited the individuals. These are the people following our invitation in the 3 recruiting centers in Italy, Spain, and Greece. In Italy, we actually have 2 centers for recruitment in Florence and in Apulia. So these individuals connected on the platform, and we were actually flooded. We had twice as many applications than expected. Therefore, it was very hard work because we had to experiment with a new tool, the platform, within the framework of the study that had been approved of by the ethical committees of the 4 involved centers. The second pilot study will have the following purpose. It will add some extra parameters and variables onto the platform. One of them is social networking. That is, the plus of this platform will be the possibility of communicating one with the other. So these people will be able to say, I have reached this goal, I have done this, I've done that. So networking. And we will start with incentives. Credits for health means I'm going to give you some credits if you reach your target. Following the nudge or nudging concept, a very beloved concept in the Anglo-Saxon countries, made popular by the book written by an economist at the University of Chicago. Nudging means that if you want a citizen to do something good, you have to reward them rather than just punish them because they do something wrong. The nudge concept also has some ethical implications because I could induce a good behavior through the manipulation of that given person. Conversely, we try to induce a good behavior in the full respect of personal decisions. We just want to help people, providing our competence to do something that can become a tool not only that can be marketed at the end of our projects, because this platform could become a system many could connect with, therefore meeting the needs of return on this investment. The European Union would like to have a return on this project. But that's only one side of the medal. What we want to give our citizens is a validated tool, a credible tool. And to be credible, you have to follow a pathway. And researchers know very well that pathways require results to be proven, results to be analyzed, results to be classified based on their significance, and reproducing results in different systems. There's a scientific research which is at the basis of medical progress. So the extraordinary aspect of this new project is not only that of recommending a good lifestyle, but of having people participating, involved, developing clinical studies that can provide unquestionable results, providing a platform that in the future can become an ethical system to source good advice. We have already seen the results of the first pilot study, and we have entered the second phase. So we're focusing on the second pilot study with the credit system. I can't tell you whether credits will work or not. We are still researching this. We haven't found the answer yet. However, the first pilot study has certainly shown that there is a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of interest. Many people wanted to participate. We were thinking to have very young people participating in a technological platform. We actually thought that maybe older individuals would not be interested. Conversely, the average age is 44, 45 years, with the participation of many people older than that. And we therefore have to think about future users of technological platforms that do not necessarily need to be very, very young. And these participants are not necessarily people who need to lose weight. We have perfectly fit individuals with a body mass index which is absolutely within the range of normality, who actually want to maintain their fitness. So the pilot study is already providing us with very interesting data. What about the future? Well, first of all, we have to obtain the approval of the ethical committee for our randomized controlled study or trial, in which we shall have a third arm that will be treated via the platform, and an arm of the trial without incentives, without the use of the platform. This is what happens today. I mean, you can connect on a website and you can read some advice about what you eat, but you do not receive any credits. So there are no incentives. It is just information. And then you have to do what you can. The difficulty resides in the fact that the ethical committee has to approve of the idea of incentive. In Europe, it is really difficult to make ethical committees understand that people participating in studies can be rewarded with incentives. This is not allowed in Europe. If you carry out a study on a drug in the United States, you can go on TV and say, our center is recruiting patients, patients will be paid to be part of the study, and this is ethical in the USA. It is not ethical in our country. In our country, we can't even pay travel expenses to the people participating in studies. And this is a first difficulty, but the European Union is asking us for three main outcomes. Number one, the development of the platform, which is our final product. Number two, communicating and disseminating what we are doing. And this is what I'm doing here today, for instance. The European community supports a project with 6 million euros. They want people to know that the funds are provided by the European Union and that we are working in a fair and correct way. But they also want results regarding ethics. And this means managing the ethical committees in the proper way. Today, they have to think about a new approval process envisaging the use of credits, and our ethical committees are not used to that. So, this is an important development. It is something that in the future could be used also for other models, with the full respect of the individuals participating in the study, because that is always our primum movens, based on what we have done so far regarding the best management of trials and studies on patients. Now we're talking about the general population and the impact on the general population. So we're very, very happy with what we have achieved so far. You can imagine we had a lot of difficulties because we all come from a different background. So IT experts are now beginning to listen to us, and we are beginning to understand the role of IT experts developing these IT systems. So it has been really educational for us. We have learned a lot, and we are sure that in the end we will give a product to the European Union. Maybe our conclusion will be incentives are not relevant. Incentives are not necessary. And, today I cannot tell you about this because we haven't concluded our project. We might end up realizing that some incentives can be very useful. A custom-tailored approach might be the best way to go, rather than depersonalizing things based on our clinical experience. We know that this is very important. Custom tailoring the treatment, collecting the personal and family history from the patient, listening to the patient and all what he or she has experienced. Well, this is already 50% of our job. Unfortunately, physicians, due to many reasons, may not do this properly. But you need empathy with your patients. You need to recognize the significance of the patient's life. The patient is sitting in front of you, telling you about his or her own personal experience. Sometimes we're in a rush and we do not treasure this as we should. Similarly, when we give advice or recommendations, we have to realize that everybody is different with his or her own story. So the psychotyping and the psychological approach of our platform is for sure a significant plus. Credits for health, involvement of individuals. This should give us excellent results. This will probably be the most significant result we shall achieve. In the control arm, people will only receive information. They will not be followed in a personalized way. Or maybe credits, such as discount at the supermarket, a discount for your subscription to a fitness center. Well, maybe these incentives will turn out to be not so important. Other models, for instance, have demonstrated the lack of efficacy in this respect. Following the nudge concept, and Mr. Obama, just like Mr. Cameron, has set up a commission in the healthcare system to focus on the nudge idea. Well, Mr. Bloomberg, when he was the mayor of New York, decided to provide funds to support people buying healthy food, giving discounts on healthy food. Well, many of those people use this bonus type of system based on vouchers to make money. They sold their vouchers instead of making use of them for the specified purpose. So the final part of our study will actually tell us whether our incentives are effective or not. I will be very happy to share my experience to further progress in this field. I will be happy to share our final results in 1.5 years that I believe could also be of help for our decision makers to go one way rather than the usual way, to change things. They're already trying to do much to help people keep fit. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we no longer have money to treat chronic diseases. That's a problem. We shall have serious problems in the future. And unless we educate people in the right way, without improvising, with culture and knowledge, if we don't do this, we won't be able to support the elderly in the future. Their income is not growing, and we won't be able to provide us with the care that our country is still providing today. So our activity is online with the wider prevention project launched in the different European countries, and the European Union will certainly focus on this in the future because it is a real need we have to reduce diseases in the elderly. Thank you very much for your attention.